Thank you for joining us on the Wrestling Talks and Thoughts channel. It's your main man, Saheem the Dream, where we primarily talk about wrestling content, and we want to hear from you. That's right, you, the wrestling fans, as we post monthly wrestling content videos, and also as we go live every Tuesday at 10 p.m. and every Sunday at 12 p.m. and discuss wrestling content. Also, you guys can join us on Facebook Live, and also join us on Facebook and join the Facebook group and the Facebook page as well. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and also hit that notification bell for all new video uploads. Also, drop a comment in the comment section below as we talk wrestling, and we want to know your thoughts. All right, now guys, let's get into the video. Rowdy Piper, Vince McMahon, the $1 Million Man, Ravishing Rick Rude, Mr. Perfect, Superstar Billy Graham, The Miz, Randy Orton, Ric Flair, Andre the Giant are named among the greatest heels in WWE wrestling history. But there is one who stands out from the pack as a phoenix who rose from the ashes to be the best, the greatest heel in WWE history. If there was a title to be won, mission complete. If there was a great technician, high flyer, powerhouse, or the greatest in-ring performer, he found a way to win and get the job done. He knew how to beat you in the ring and at your own game. He knew how to break you down and wear you out physically and mentally in order to create a means to win in, and that was accomplishing his goal. Your heroes don't always get the victory or ride off into the sunset. Sometimes there's a formidable foe who's too ruthless and aggressive and has a means of stopping your hero from reaching the top of the mountain. And that person is Triple H, the greatest heel in WWE history. The evolution of his character was second to none. From mid-Carter to heavyweight contender to being considered among an elite class of superstars who come once in a lifetime, he was considered one of the best, and one could argue the best or the greatest. But what made Triple H the greatest heel among many who have come before him and after him? Well, we'll take a look at what made him unique from all the other heels in WWE history. You respect what you hate. There's something unique about a heel when they turn face and they begin to get cheered like the biggest babyface in the world. But then there's something even more special when a heel is just a heel and they're being cheered like a babyface. Now in this case, we have Triple H. So after WrestleMania 14, Shawn Michaels decided to take a sabbatical to recuperate from a back injury that he had sustained from a casket match against The Undertaker. Triple H would now pick up the reins as being the new leader of D-Generation X. And there was a lot of doubt on whether Triple H could really fill the shoes of Shawn Michaels as being the new leader of DX. But that was quickly dismissed after Triple H would definitely show his great leadership qualities, quickly winning over the fans with hilarious promos and impersonations, continuing his feud with the Nation of Domination and his feud with The Rock as the leader of the Nation of Domination, and also feuding with the Corporation. He was viewed at the time as being a potential hero who can take down the Corporation and all their antics alongside Stone Cold Steve Austin. But on March 28, 1999, at WrestleMania 15, Triple H would make a decision that would catapult his career into superstardom, and that decision would create the most prolific heel in WWE history. After betraying his best friend X-Pac and the New Age Outlaws, the remaining members of DX, at this time, China had sided with the Corporation and Triple H had decided to join alongside her in the Corporation. This when his character would now kick in. At this time, Triple H was the top babyface leading DX, so the swerve would come as a major surprise. And that wasn't the only swerve. There were many swerves that would come in the years that followed. I mean, this guy would do anything to get his hands and a heavyweight title, choosing a sledgehammer as his weapon of choice to neutralize any threat that would come between him and his heavyweight gold. which served as a symbol of ruthlessness he was willing to display on any of his opponents in order to accomplish his goals. But the sledgehammer would not serve as the most powerful tool that he would use in order to conquer his opponents. It would be his mind. It would be his manipulative tactics, his strategies, his ways of coercing other wrestlers to side with him in his diabolical schemes in order to get what he wanted, which would later cause good old JR to deem him the cerebral assassin. He would manipulate Rikishi to run over Stone Cold Steve Austin with the car because Stone Cold posed as a threat of taking his world heavyweight title. He would threaten an official, Earl Hebner, to overturn a title victory that Jericho won, beating him clean on an episode of Monday Night Raw. That's right, Jericho beats Triple H clean. Triple H threatens Earl Hebner with an ass whooping. Earl Hebner agrees to overturn that victory that Jericho just won over beating Triple H. After Earl Hebner overturns the title victory, Triple H fires Earl Hebner. Triple H would kidnap the boss's daughter, have her drugged and knocked out, marry her illegally, later on coerce her into a plan to side with him. I mean, this guy would go through any lengths to keep that world title or to ensure that he was at the top of the mountain. I mean, this guy put a $100,000 bounty out on Goldberg after losing the World Heavyweight Championship. So that way, the next time him and Goldberg had their title match, that he would try to secure more of a easier win for himself. But see, the interesting thing about his character is that fans liked him. They loved him. I mean, he was just as over as The Rock was and Stone Cold Steve Austin. I mean, why? I mean, he's not even a babyface. But you know why? Because he's consistent. He's dependable. Like, this guy will go out there and say he was going to win, and he found a way to make it happen. And the fans loved it. I mean, they ate it up. It wasn't so much that he was just a major heel. It was so much about how manipulative he was. He was tactical. He was strategic. He used all his resources in order to keep himself in power. And that right there is the kind of guy that most people want on their side. You don't want to cross a guy like that because he's going to cross you more times than you cross him. It was like you hated him for his trickery or his sneaky and conniving ways of obtaining a victory, but at the same time you respected the way he strategically put a plan together and watch it unfold in front of your eye, while still being able to garner cheers from the audience. And he was a great wrestler. He was great on the mic. I mean, he had it all. He had the look, he had the in-ring ability, and his character really brought out something special. He put himself in the same league as the best baby faces that were on the roster and found a way to show how much better he was than them as a heel. So then what happens is as you begin to view your favorite baby face and you begin to see them in the light of being your favorite, reaching for the gold, somehow, some way, in the midst and in the shadows of you having that vision of them reaching for the gold, you see this roadblock, and that roadblock was Triple H. He destroyed your heroes. And Triple H always had a knack for destroying your heroes. I mean, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Chris Jericho, anybody who posed as a threat before him, Goldberg, Randy Orton, Booker T. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on. I mean, we all seen what happened to Batista in the last match, but it gets brutal. This guy was like the final boss, the guy you had to give everything you had in you in order to secure a victory. And sometimes that in itself wasn't even enough. I mean, this guy was the first heel in WWE history to ever walk out of WrestleMania still champion. WrestleMania 2000, we thought and we swore for sure The Rock was going to win the WWE Championship. I mean, he just won the Royal Rumble. Most baby faces that win the Royal Rumble wound up walking out of WrestleMania the WWE Champion. Nope. In this case, this is the second time Royal Rumble winner who went into WrestleMania winning the Royal Rumble came out without the belt. First person was Shawn Michaels, just in case you don't know. Oh, so Triple H and Stone Cold Steve Austin now have a big feud going on. And of course, you would think, yes, this is Stone Cold Steve Austin. He is the main draw. He is the guy that everybody comes to see. He's going to take down the big bad at this point. Not Triple H. They go through 3 stages of hell. The first match gets handed to Austin. Second match gets handed to Triple H. Last match gets handed to, guess who? Triple H. Destroyed your hero. So Goldberg finally makes his debut on an episode of Monday Night Raw in the WWE, starting a short feud with The Rock. beating him in a match at Backlash, and then goes on to challenge Triple H for the World Heavyweight Championship as one of the many contenders in an Elimination Chamber match. I mean, it felt obvious at this time that Goldberg, being a major babyface, being highly cheered and loved by the fans and adored, that he would come out on top, winning his first World Heavyweight title in WWE. But Triple H is involved in this match. There's no way he was going to make that easy. Goldberg winds up beating everybody and making it to who? The big bad, the boss, Triple H. And of course, you think that Goldberg is going to sail off into the sunset with the World Heavyweight Championship and be the new World Heavyweight Champion? No, it doesn't happen that way. He gets smacked over the head with a sledgehammer after attempting a spear on Triple H and winds up losing, and then gets completely annihilated at the end of the pay-per-view. Now, this is what I find to be very funny and interesting, that in the early 2000s, there were some wrestling magazines that printed some articles pitting Triple H against Goldberg and what would happen in their first encounter, and exactly how they broke down the battle and said that Triple H would win the match is exactly how Triple H won the match in their first encounter. Triple H and Mick Foley would go through sequences of matches rivaling for the WWE Heavyweight Championship. In Mick Foley's desperate attempt to try to recapture the WWE Championship, Triple H forces Mick Foley to put his WWE career on the line for the title. And of course, Triple H comes out the winner, retiring Mick Foley. And Mick Foley would lose in glorious fashion, having Triple H put him through a Hell in a Cell steel cage. Not only did he retire Mick Foley, but he destroyed Mick Foley in that match. That was one of Triple H's best matches, if not probably his best, a straight up classic. See, the reason why I'm bringing this up and bringing out the fact that Triple H would destroy your heroes is because in most cases, when you have a heel and you have a babyface, the babyface always looks strong. But in the case with Triple H, he tends to always look strong. And it's almost as equal as the babyface. There's times that the babyface looks strong, and there's times that Triple H looks strong. But that's what made it a little bit rare. Like even in Ric Flair's case, it's like when he would go back and forth with Sting, or he would go back and forth with Magnum TA and Dusty Rhodes, it was like, you know, you seen how strong these baby faces were. They had the capability to take down Flair and beat Flair in a match. And, you know, at the end of the feud, Flair would end up still being World Heavyweight Champion. But at the same time, the babyface always looked strong. But in the case with Triple H looked as strong as your babyface. He looked as capable, if not as more efficient, and a lot more strategic than your babyface. See, between 2002 and 2005, Triple H had this thing called the Reign of Terror, where people consider it dry, boring, and where it became uninteresting. You know why? Because all of your babyfaces were not getting over. Austin wasn't there anymore. This is around the time where he had took his ball and as they say, you know, took his ball and went home and wouldn't put over Brock Lesnar. Left for a while, came back only to retire. The Rock had went off to Hollywood. So the only other baby faces you had were all the other mid-carders who could be groomed to be the next world champion. There were former world champions that were there, but none was as big as The Rock or Austin or even Undertaker to be in the likes of taking down someone like Triple H. I say it was more so Triple H's time, even though Triple H was in DX and, you know, he's had some years prior to The Rock and prior to Austin being there, was because at this time he was now the big main eventer. He was the one that was going to carry the show. At one point it was The Rock carrying the show, and then you had Austin who carried the show. So now it was Triple H's turn to carry the show. Now, I'm a big Booker T fan. I was a big RVD fan, and I loved Kane as well. And at that time, those were the formidable foes who were going up against Triple H, or those who could have been groomed to be bigger world champions than what they were at the time. And the funny thing about it is, out of all three actually wound up getting World Heavyweight Championship reigns after their feud with Triple H. So people looked at it like, oh, you know, Triple H, he just ran through them and he just beat the hell out of them. Yeah, he was supposed to, because you know why? That's who he was. That's what his character was supposed to do. His character was made to destroy your heroes. Triple H was like the Dr. Doom of WWE. Like, he's the guy or that villain who's going to find a way to destroy your Superman. He's the Lex Luthor. He's going to find a way to weaken your Superman. And then after he destroys your Superman, he's going to have a reign for a little bit and until he gets, you know, conquered by another superhero or something like that. But That's just the mind frame in which how his character was really created. Out of all these people that were named, The Rock being gone, Austin being gone, who did you have? The biggest star that was there at the time, and it was Triple H. It's all about the gold. I mean, come on, listen. How do you establish yourself as a formidable foe and opponent? By gaining the richest prize in WWE, being the man on top, being the king of the mountain. What would be the point of him being a top heel if he did not gain the richest prize? If he did not go for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship? If he did not try to take as much gold and get as much gold as he could? Of course, he's a heel. He's in it for himself. He's in it for his own personal benefit. He's trying to enforce a rule of dominance and dictatorship, all in the name of keeping himself at the top and showing that he is the best. So of course, he's going to have 14 world title reigns. Yes, 13 or 12 or 10. He's supposed to. Triple H will go on to be the first wrestling performer in wrestling history to lead 3 successful factions in multiple world title reigns, either with himself or with other performers that were part of the stable. The first being DX, as he reigned as world champion. The second being Evolution, as he was world heavyweight champion and Randy Orton would capture the world heavyweight championship title. And then the third will be The Authority. Well, he will become world champion, Seth Rollins will become world champion, and Randy Orton will become world heavyweight champion and heavyweight world champion. His main objective is to keep your beloved babyface from even trying to get the world heavyweight championship. That's his main objective. His main objective is to make sure that he gets it or gets it before anyone. Of course, a heel is supposed to be greedy. They're supposed to be loathsome. They're supposed to be selfish, which in case in point was a predictable moment when Randy Orton won the world heavyweight title from Chris Benoit at SummerSlam. I knew that night when Randy Orton won that belt and they were having a celebration for him in the ring that Triple H would turn on him, because that's who Triple H is. He's that kind of heel. So he can't see no one else having that prize but him, because that's who his character was. And he played that character to the bone. And that's what a heel is supposed to do. That's the job that they have. The job that they have is to hold that belt hostage. Be arrogant, be pompous, be a jerk, be the biggest a-hole that the promotion could ever produce. And that's who Triple H was. He was there to make you like your baby faces more. He was there for you to cheer for your baby faces more. But he was also there to crush your dreams. He was also there to show you that it's not all about how good you are in the ring, but how good you are at your strategy, your tactics, and about what you care about most. Is it about being the greatest or just being liked? And he was all about being the greatest. He was all about being the greatest champion. And being a champion as a heel, to him, was the highest point that he was able to reach, more than any other superstar in the promotion. Yeah, we had Flair, who was there, who came in the 90s, but he was not as loathed as Triple H. That reign of terror was able to produce more superstars because of the disdain they had for Triple H being out of the spotlight once he left. People look at it as a bad thing, but it was actually a good thing. He was a great superstar, a big superstar who held on to that belt, but made you want to watch because you wanted to see him get beat. However, you didn't want to watch it because he held on to the gold. How sweet was it when Batista finally beat him for the belt? I mean, fans went ballistic. They created a brand new star, and he was the king of the mountain you wanted to see be dethroned. It's time to play the game. What made Triple H so different from every other heel? What made him so unique? They're all backstabbing. They're all slimy. They'll do anything to win. They're all cutthroat. Well, they'll betray the closest person to them in order to achieve championship status or to get what they want. But what made Triple H so unique was that he invited you into his world. If you challenged Triple H or he challenged you, you were invited into a whole new world of deceit, deception, and destruction. It was quite chaotic and brutal. Take the Shield. They were a tight-knit group, a strong stable, who had achieved a great level of success in defending their tag titles and United States title as being a great brothers in arms, and they were at some points and at many points unstoppable. But Triple H found a way to seduce and deceive one of the members, being Seth Rollins, into siding with him, promising him a great legacy and being a WWE champion. Who could do that? Who could coerce and seduce another performer into siding with them into the dark side? That man would be Triple H. Take Stone Cold Steve Austin, the beer-swelling, foul-mouthed redneck who went down to the ring every Monday and Thursday night and raised hell. Did whatever he wanted to do. I mean, he was an anti-hero. He did the best of the best and did the worst of the worst. You know, he was on both sides of the spectrum. But here's Triple H, who would fully persuade him to come over fully to the dark side and embrace that dark place that he's had. It wasn't so much Vince McMahon at WrestleMania 17, and it wasn't so much just Austin himself desperately needing a WWE heavyweight title win at WrestleMania 17, but it was more beyond that. After WrestleMania 17, The Rock would have a one-on-one match against Austin in a steel cage match, at which Triple H would proceed to come down to the ring, and it seems like he was attempting to help The Rock. And at this point, Triple H was a babyface. But no, the swerve again. He's helping Stone Cold Steve Austin, and thus begins the two-man power trip, where these guys will go through the Federation, dominating and inflicting as much pain and as much punishment on anyone who stood between them and their heavyweight championships. Triple H holding the Intercontinental title, Stone Cold Steve Austin holding the world title, and them both holding the tag titles. On one episode of SmackDown, we would see Stone Cold Steve Austin brutally beat the life out of Lita, who was trying to protect Matt Hardy from being pummeled by Stone Cold Steve Austin. As Lita would lay her body on Matt Hardy, Stone Cold Steve Austin would repeatedly hit her and beat her with chair shots. It was brutal. And who was right by Stone Cold Steve Austin's side while this happened? None other than Triple H. And that same level of brutality would continue until Triple H had to leave WWE due to a quad injury. But just imagine, if the two-man power trip had continued, what lengths Triple H would have gone through just to get his hands on Stone Cold Steve Austin's World Heavyweight title. And what made the two-man power trip so crazy was that a few months earlier, Triple H had revealed to Stone Cold Steve Austin that he coerced Rikishi to hit Stone Cold Steve Austin with a car in order to protect his World Heavyweight title reign. Now, this guy was manipulative enough to coerce someone else to hit Stone Cold Steve Austin with the car, then coerce Stone Cold Steve Austin to be on his side or to side with him so that they can have a reign of dominance over the whole roster. And why would Austin do that? Because he knew that Triple H was a legitimate threat to his World Heavyweight title reign. Triple H is not someone you don't want to be on the opposite side of you. He knew that. You want him to be on your side because Triple H would go through any lengths to get his hands on that belt, and he would have found a way to do it. Take Daniel Bryan, winning his match against John Cena at SummerSlam, and just when the match is over and Daniel Bryan is trying to bask in the glory of winning his World Heavyweight Championship, a kick, a pedigree will lay down Daniel Bryan so that Randy Orton can come to the ring, cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase, and receive his prize, which was the World Heavyweight Championship. You never see it coming. It's always the swerve of a lifetime. You never see it coming. Yes, let's go back to him destroying your heroes. Sting, one of the prominent members of WCW, who was a mainstay and a staple of WCW, finally comes over to WWE. And we want to see Sting come over as a glorified champion of WCW, coming to WWE to be a major babyface. He goes up against Triple H at WrestleMania, and we think he's going to go over and beat Triple H. But no, the swerve again. He doesn't beat Triple H, but Triple H beats him. He is in the world of the game. A returning Seth Rollins comes back after overcoming a leg injury, a torn ACL and MCL. Someone who had been persuaded and been coerced by Triple H to turn on his brothers comes back to WWE. And we all think that in this moment that he would initially be on the side with Triple H, that Triple H would have his back completely 100%. During a fatal four-way match on an episode of Monday Night Raw where 4 contenders would fight for the Universal WWE Championship after Finn Balor had to relinquish the title due to shoulder injury. In this fatal four-way match, it's left down to 2 contestants, Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins. And just when you think Seth Rollins is about to win this match and that Triple H is coming into the match to help Seth Rollins, the swerve again. A kick, a pedigree, and a hand is extended to Kevin Owens so that he can become Universal Champion for the first time. We thought that Triple H would be by the side of Seth Rollins. We thought that he would be the person who would help Seth Rollins in this moment because, again, he's a guy that made him give up so much in order to gain what he had with Triple H, and that there was a complete allegiance between Triple H and Seth Rollins. But no, that's not what happened. The total opposite, ladies and gentlemen, the total opposite. This is how Triple H played. He played dirty, he played unfair, and he never allowed you to believe that your heroes could ever win. And this is why he is the greatest heel in WWE history. Alright guys, so that does it for the video, and thanks again for joining me as I talked about the greatest heel in WWE history. Do you agree? If not, who do you think is the greatest heel in WWE history? Let me know in the comment section below. Also, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. Also, you could join us as we go live every Tuesday at 10 p.m. to hear from you. That's right, you, the WWE fans and wrestling fans, and we want to know your opinions, your thoughts on the current status of wrestling today as we review AEW, SmackDown, Raw, and other wrestling hot topics. Thank you guys for joining me. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Until next time, this is Saheem the Dream signing off.